Johannesburg, South Africa is a city on the move, with construction rising up like a phoenix from the rubble of apartheid. I notice a certain electricity and optimism in the air as I stroll through Nelson Mandela Square and wander through its malls. The people want to move forward, while remembering the lessons of the past. They are eager to shake off the stigma of being considered a third world nation and establish themselves as citizens of the world. And being the host of the 2010 World Cup certainly went a long way to achieving this goal. But I wonder, Johannesburg seems to be becoming just another world city. I mean, you could find shops and malls like these in London or Los Angeles or New York. In the rush to compete in the world market, is Johannesburg losing something of its uniqueness? Even in the African market, where I could buy spices from the east, a painted ostrich egg, and have my fortune told, was located on top of a shopping mall. This certainly wasn't the Africa I had come to see. Where was the Africa of my dreams? Of the Saturday afternoon movies I had watched on TV as a child?
This is elephant country, and we're just in time to join a local hunting party. Elephant meat is a great delicacy.
I decided to leave the suburban trappings of Johannesburg for the day and spend the night in one of the many game reserves not very far away. I felt distinctly unsafari-like driving to a game reserve in my rented two-door compact car. I wanted to see lions and elephants deep in the African bush. Could I really drive just a few miles out of town and see them in my Honda? Well, we'll find out. Ingwe Bush Camp is run by Cliff and Irene Saunders and is advertised as a privately owned nature reserve offering luxury tinted camps and game drives. Sort of a African B&B of bush and breakfast.
Ingwe means leopard, which is we used as an emblem for the camp.
Okay.
Because of the numerous leopard we've got.
The dining room doesn't disappoint. Yes, Cliff really did shoot all these animals. And the tablecloth. It is winter now in South Africa, and the lowest point of the tourist season, so I would have the place to myself. After settling in, I decided to take a little walk on my own. Cliff advised me that if I saw an elephant, just to stay well clear.
All over the globe, man has slowly tamed the wilderness, pushing deeper into the unknown, pitting his knowledge against the ruthless force and terror of the jungle.
So, I was about to do a stand-up, but then I heard something behind me, so I'm going to see what that is. I heard something. So, I was about to do a stand-up, but I just heard something behind me, and it sounded like a snort, so I'm going to check it out. But it's getting kind of dark, so I'm gonna hurry. The snort turned out to be only a herd of blessbuck antelope, which I feel like could have taken on single-handedly. I think the zebras are upset that I'm still out. I think normally they expect the tourists to be in their camps by now. So I went out for about an hour before sundown, and aside from a few zebra and a group of dumbback antelope and a couple of rustling in the bushes, and I'm not exactly sure what that was, I didn't really get to see what I wanted to see. And what I really wanted to see was a rhino charging through the bush Although I'm not exactly sure what I would have done had I seen that, but you know, at least I would have gotten it on tape. Well, it is certainly budget as far as safaris go, but there are the pluses. I've got the whole place to myself. I've got a steak on the braai, and in the morning I have a great game drive to look forward to. Very nice. All I need is some wine. Forgot the wine. Early the next morning, I was taken on my game drive. Hey, there's my ride. Cliff explained that sometimes the game was plentiful and sometimes it wasn't. But I was content just grinding through the bush in the ancient four-wheeler, dodging warthogs, and scaring off that herd of blessbuck. Mess with me, will you?
Blessbuck name comes from if you look, they got a white flash in the front, on the face. And in Afrikaans, that means bless, means flash. And, they do that little bit of bouncing around. It's apparently got to do with their focus. Their 3D focus apparently is not as good as what, say, ours would be. That's why they move their heads around such a lot to fix the depth thing.
Oh, I see. After a while, it seemed like Cliff was trying to convince me that it was all right if I didn't see an elephant.
Well, the big five is always great to see, and it's wonderful to see them, but there are lots and lots more than the big five. Very much more. And, you know, I mean, just like our bird species, we've got 264 species of bird would occur here. There's a lot of things we don't know.
But the expedition paid off. Rounding the bend, I came face to face with a pair of giraffe. Alright, so I didn't get to see a rhino or an elephant, but I think people get too obsessed with seeing the big five and they forget to appreciate the beauty of the countryside and the quiet. And I did get to see zebra and giraffe and wildebeest and warthogs, and I got a wonderful breakfast. So I think all in all, it's worth it. I mean, how many B&Bs can you go to where you can say, yeah, I saw a giraffe? Ingwe Bush Camp is surrounded by the Johannesburg mountain range, some of the oldest mountains on Earth, nearly 2 billion years old. That's older than Everest. It's also smack dab in the middle of an area officially known as the cradle of humankind. In 1947, Dr. Robert Bloom found a small humanoid skull in the Sterkfontein caves. No, that's not Dr. Bloom. This is Dr. Bloom. Because of the small brain cavity, Dr. Bloom determined it was the skull of a female, dating back 2.5 million years. It was called Australopithecus africanus, or Mrs. Please for short. The specimen remained identified as a woman for the next 50 years, until it was determined that it was actually the skull of a small boy. Serves Dr. Bloom right for thinking women had small brains. Today, the site where Dr. Bloom made his discovery is a museum. The museum tells the story of the evolution of mankind, with flint tools and other artifacts that have been found. But But what really makes the site come alive is journeying down more than 200 feet into the cave where the discoveries were made. Over 2 million years ago, it is believed that a young boy was running and fell down this hole. He never made it out. It is a magical experience, despite the Mexican video crew stopping every few minutes to do a stand-up. This is still a working dig, and archaeology is still going on here. It's exciting to think about what they might still discover.